What's going on, traders? It's Trader Timbo back here with another video. Today is day 2 of the 30-day discipline challenge. So I just wanted to kind of go over my trades and show you guys how I did today. So I took 3 trades today, and there was the result of my P&L. So you can see I broke some rules today. So day 2 kind of had some slip on the discipline aspect here. So let's go over it though. So the first trade I took was a short right down here. And the reason for this trade, so like kind of going through my checklist again, like the key level, the key thesis for this was we rejected this 200 EMA on the 15-minute chart, and we had this strong move down. And then zoom into the 5-minute. We had a pullback back to this previous day low area, the red line. And the EMAs were also aligned bearish, right? The red is the 200, the 50, and the 9. So we're aligned bearish on those after the strong move back down. So I was basically looking for, this pullback test and then a rollover to make new lows. So I got in short here on this candle when we kind of wicked up. Let's get rid of that. We wicked up and then kind of flipped back red. I got short and we didn't get any follow through. They bounced it and I took the loss here. So that was my first trade. So I obeyed my rules on that trade. I kept the loss. I think I was down. It was definitely less than $200. So, and the next trade, I waited, the full 10 minutes, so I followed my rules on that. And I went back through kind of the checklist again. So we still had this move down, right? So they pushed it back up when I stopped out, but we rejected back into the EMAs and came back below the previous day low level again here. So I was still having the same thesis as the first trade. So we kind of had also a little bit of like a little bear flag, you could say, move down, kind of consolidating, and then we started to break it here. So the thesis on this trade, going back to the checklist, was, same as the first one. Rejected near the 200 EMA on the 15-minute chart, got back below the previous day low level, and we came back up, tested back into the bearish EMAs, and then I was just looking for kind of a signal that we're going to continue back down. So once we broke this flag and came back under this pre-market low, this white dotted line, that's when I took my second trade. Took it short here. We had a decent move down here, and it looked like we're going to possibly make new lows. I had an order to get filled around this 420 area, and it was looking really good, and they shot it back up and stopped me out again for a second loss. So I both these trades, I really like the setups on them. We just didn't get great follow through on them. Obviously this second one, I probably could have scaled a little bit out on this push. We did make new lows barely here. So it could have been smart to at least take one out of the 2 off. But I chose to kind of see if we can get follow through on the new lows. Just because I want my winners to be, bigger than my losing trades. And we just didn't get the move down. So it happens. I think one thing I could have done on this trade was once we got this candle close, like this strong 5-minute, I probably could have just taken a break even. Since it closed so strong, it's probably going to get follow through up higher. So I could have at least protected myself and taken a break even here instead of taking a loss on it. So could have been a little bit tighter with that. And I also, like I said, probably could have scaled some out, at these new lows. I was just hoping for a little bit more follow through if it were to work out. But, it can never hurt to scale some out, when you get those new lows. So lesson learned on that one. And then, so I stopped out there. And then the next trade I took was up here, which looking at it now, not a great trade. So I still waited the 10 minutes between my trade from this loss. And my rules say to have 3 trades max. So I knew this is going to be my last trade, according to my rules at least, right? And I was down after these 2 losses. I was down, I think, around $330. So my max daily loss was set at $400. So I started out on this trade with 1 micro, but actually let me back up and give you guys kind of the thesis of it. So we had this strong move up off these lows, right? We got back above previous day low, and the EMA started to flip back bullish, right? So I'm thinking, all right, we had the strong push. The EMAs are back bullish. I'm just going to look for a pullback and then look for, a continuation of this push. So I actually zoomed into the 2-minute chart for this entry, and I waited for a little pullback here. I got long here with 1 micro. Since I only had $70 basically of drawdown left on the day before I hit my max daily loss, I started with just 1, and then we kind of had a little wick down again. It looked like we're going to push up and maybe go test the high a day. So I added 1 more, thinking that, all right, like this thing's either going to go or it's not going to go, and I'm just going to stop out, and that'll be the end of my day. So I added 1 back here, and I wanted this thing to either go, or I was going to stop out, for minus $400 on the day and just be done. So I thought that I had set my max daily loss in Tradevate for minus 400 for each account. So I thought, if it didn't work out, I'm just going to stop out and that'll be it. So it started to go against me, and I look over at my P&L, and then I'm down over 400. I'm like, wait, why is it not taking me out? But I never set the minus 400 max daily loss in Tradevate. So that was my fault. I thought I had set it. It must have been on the accounts I had before that. And before I knew it, it dropped down, and I was down a few hundred on this trade. At that point, I kind of went into almost panic mode, or even I was thinking all right, well, I'm already beyond my max daily loss, so I may as well wait and see if the 5-minute 9 EMA is gonna hold up. So I held a loser where I should have been out basically when it didn't work, thinking I had my max daily loss set in Tradevate to automatically take me out, but I didn't, and I ended up holding it. It looked like we're maybe going to bounce up and maybe go make highs again a couple different times here, and I just held it thinking that we're still going to play out for this trade idea, which the main target for this was going to be the previous day high level, which was this green zone from basically last Friday. I didn't count Monday's high as a daily high, just because it was President's Day yesterday. So I was still using Friday's high as the previous day high. But anyway, so long story short, we didn't end up getting the push. We dropped down and ended up stopping out down here for basically almost a double times my max loss per trade. So I kind of got obviously a little bit loose. I was thinking that I was going to be okay even if the trade didn't work, and I would just be done for the day minus 400. And then I ended up kind of holding a loser and making it into a bigger loser than it should have been, and kind of screwed up my day. So end of the day minus $740 basically. So almost double my max daily loss, which was supposed to be my main focus on the day. So obviously I'm not perfect, and this situation, looking back, obviously I wish I would have just cut it when I saw that I was down $500. But it looked like it was possibly going to work, so I decided to hold it. And then the market obviously came in and took me out and humbled me, and so now I got a little bit of a hole with these accounts to try to dig out of moving forward here. But just kind of going back to my checklist here for the discipline challenge. So let's go through and see like the ones that I actually did use. So I actually did use the checklist on all of my trades. So I took 3 trades and I did use it on each trade today. So that one I actually did do today, even though like the last trade that I took, we were a bit extended, right, from the EMAs on like the 5-minute. I zoomed into the 2-minute thinking that, this was a little pullback and we're maybe going to get that momentum push. There's also a new 15-minute candle when this happened that kind of wicked. And with this big 15-minute candle, I thought maybe we can get some continuation on it. If it broke the high, we can go up and test this high today. But we just didn't get it. And like I said, it should have been, a small contained loss for like $70 that turned into, a 300 something dollar loss. So like close to 400 even. So just have to be obviously better with the risk management on these trades, and make sure that the max daily loss is set in Tradovate moving forward. So that was my mistake, and going to correct that moving forward. So anyways, I did use the trade checklist today on every trade. Like I made sure to go through it mentally, even though on this trade, like I could have waited for like a bigger pullback. I still was like cognizant of using this checklist, right? And that's really the main thing, is making sure that I'm like being aware of using this to like kind of filter out, to make sure I'm not taking just random trades. Like I still had a trade idea for it. I obviously could have been a little bit more patient with waiting for like a bigger pullback, and even just getting in like earlier on that move up. It's kind of harder when it's happening, but we had this strong move up. We reclaimed the 9 EMA on the 5-minute. We got back above previous day low. Like when there's good momentum and like a clear kind of reversal signal back above the 9 and the 50 here, like even getting long after this candle closed right here. I know this is hindsight, but when you get like a couple wicks back on the 9 EMA and it's sloping up and the 50's flat, like there's a good chance you're going to break the 50, and get a push. So I think I was just a little too late to this. And even going to like this little pause we had right here, right? If there's good momentum, like this is still fairly, I know we had a good move up, but like it's still, first kind of pause, second kind of pause here, even taking along as the red candle breaks, because you're seeing that there's good momentum. Like that's also like a valid trade to take. So like just getting in up here, it's kind of like it's too late after this huge move up. So like obviously, like I said, hindsight, it's easier to see this, but like that's the only way to really learn from your mistakes, is to kind of look back and see, how could you have played it differently? What could you have done better? For this, for this trade, I think it was just too extended to be taking, a long position up here. So let me go back to this. So, all right, so I used that on each trade. Obviously, the max loss per trade on the last trade, the first 2 I did obey it. The third trade I did not, so I can't check that one off. The max daily loss minus 400, so I lost $740 today, so can't check that one off either. Only add to winning trades. So that last trade that I took, it was a small win when I added that second contract here. You can see we pushed, kind of came back, and then it looked like it was starting to work at the time to make new highs, and I added one more, and yeah, it just didn't work out. But that was adding to a winning trade. Even though it was up only small, it was still a winner at the time. And then I did wait 10 minutes between every trade today. And then I took 3 trades max, so I did that. And it was honestly like taking this bigger loss on that last trade, like going beyond my max daily loss. Like it was tempting to like want to try to try to make it back. Like that's human nature, at least for me, is like when you're down, you want to fight to like try to get it back, right? It's like fight or flight, survival type mode. So I definitely had to like kind of like take a step back after I took this loss and just realize like, like tomorrow's another day. Like you can always, get it back over time. You don't need to get it back right now. Like the conditions aren't great. Like it's pretty choppy. And like just obeying the rules and like staying within the system is really the most important thing. So like obviously I had already broken the max daily loss and the max loss per trade. Like both those things were already shot for the day, but I could have kept trading and then broke the 3 trades max per day rule as well. But I was able to get myself to step away and not try to get it all back in this day after kind of already making a mess of the day. So I guess proud of myself for kind of stepping away, even though I really wanted to keep trading. And then same thing, like no trades after 1 p.m. Did that as well. So at this time on this last trade, when I finally closed it out, we were getting close to that 1 o'clock time. So I was kind of hanging around and still watching this. I didn't really have like the intention of taking a trade because it was really choppy. But I still was like kind of watching, right? So, I could have maybe taken a 4th trade if I would have seen something, but I'm glad I didn't because I want to just try to stick to as many of these rules as I can every day, because that's like the whole point of this challenge is getting back to, doing things the right way and having discipline with it. So, yeah, that was my day today. Day 2 wasn't quite as good as day 1. So I hit on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the 7 trading rules. So I made a little sheet here on Google Sheets to kind of like track the habits here. Let me see if I can zoom this in a little bit. So you can see, so yesterday I hit all the goals for my for the challenge here. So I used the checklist. Max loss was obeyed. I only took 1 trade yesterday and it was a winner. So today, the 2 rules that I broke were the max loss and the max daily loss. So hit on 71% of the rules, which is basically 5 out of the 7. The checklist one today on that last trade, like I said, I still was like following it. My discretion wasn't the greatest on waiting for like a good pullback. So I still did use the checklist. I just, could have been a little bit better, a little more patient, I guess, to wait for a better setup. So yeah, that was it for day 2. So, minus basically $740, and now my accounts are basically down like $600 overall. I know the one is like $100 higher than the other 2 just because I started it a day earlier last week. So, but I'm just using the 2 that I started yesterday as like the running total. So right now I'm down like around $600 total on these accounts. So we have, FOMC tomorrow, and we'll be just kind of working to get back to obeying all these rules, right? So that's the main focus moving forward here. So hopefully you guys liked the video. I know it wasn't how I wanted to start, my second day of the challenge with kind of, going beyond my max loss per trade and my max daily loss, on that last trade there. So I'm going to make sure that, my trade of 8 max daily loss is set now moving forward, and, nip that in the butt here so I don't do that again. Because that was kind of like, it took me by surprise when it happened. I honestly didn't know what to do in the moment, and kind of froze instead of like acting and just closing it out for like, $500 loss on the day or whatever. So lesson learned on that. Make sure it's set. And then if something like that does happen again, like it's better to just close it out and keep it, contained rather than just holding a loser and just kind of like hoping it's going to end up working out for you. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. I'm going to continue to do this every day here for the next 30. I'm doing 30 trading sessions, right? So it'll be like, I guess, 6 weeks of doing this. So, if I end up going on a losing streak and losing the accounts, and I'll just get some more accounts and kind of start over with it. But, hopefully I can turn it around and obey the rules and slowly grow these accounts, back in the right direction here and eventually pass them. So, another announcement is that Apex, they announced a 90% off sale starting today. So, if you guys want, you can use my code for that. And Lucid's 40% off still, I believe. So, thanks guys for watching, and I'll be on, like I said, after tomorrow to make another video. So, all right guys, have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow. All right, later.